Hey everyone, welcome back to Realpolitik. So today we're going to be talking about the latest developments in Ukraine for June the 14th, 2023. But before we start, please like and subscribe and let's get right into it. All right, so there has been a missile strike in Kramatorsk, just west of Bakhmut. And let's look at some pictures here. Two people rescued from the rubble after Russian missile strike in Kramatorsk. There's that. Sorry. Then there are reports about Shahed strikes in Kirovorad region in the city of Kropyvnytsky. Yeah, I didn't say that right. Um, yeah. Anyways, aside from that, missile strikes and drone strikes in Kryvyi Rih and in the capital of Kiev. And then in Kharkiv, the city of Kharkiv, the Kharkiv region, there were artillery strikes, and these struck logistic centers and warehouses of Ukraine. And of course, in the city of Luhansk, more Shadow Storm missiles launched by Ukraine at the city. This has been ongoing for the last few weeks. And also, we have in Odessa, as you can see here, the Ukrainians are claiming that they shot down 9 of the 10 Shahed drones and several of the cruise missiles, the Caliber cruise missiles, 3 of them. They shot them down. And another report claims that altogether there were 4 Caliber cruise missiles launched at Odessa. Here's some pictures of what happened overnight. Looks like a shopping center and a residential building now. To be fair, there have been instances where the Ukrainian military has kept some military assets in a shopping center. I was skeptical at first when the war started. Then there was a video released by the Russians at one point. It showed that the Ukrainians were indeed placing an MLRS multiple launch rocket system in the parkade of a mall, which is why the mall was hit. That was a long time ago, though, last year, early on in the war. So, anyways, aside from all this, in the Ramivka tactical bridgehead, where Ukraine has made the most progress, fighting is ongoing. Ukraine hasn't taken any settlements since yesterday. They've sustained some serious losses. We're going to look at some footage of that. And yeah, let's just do that. But first, let's look at the deep state map. This is the Vermivka tactical bridgehead here. And the bridgehead looks completely different with this map, right? Looks more bulky, right? And like I said yesterday, these 2 settlements were taken by Ukraine, it was announced, right? The problem is on this map, these settlements were controlled by Ukraine in the first place. But according to some maps, realistically, the bridgehead looks something more akin to this, so it's bulkier. But in any case, like I've said before, it always makes sense when you have a salient in enemy territory and you're defending, especially to straighten out the line, right? Because let's see approximately how much this would be. About 40 kilometers, right? Could be more, but then when we measure a straight line, it's 18 kilometers. So, you'll need twice as many personnel to defend all these settlements in the salient. And if you bring all the personnel to the straight line, you'll basically be stacking your personnel. You'll be compressing, strengthening your defensive line, which just makes sense. But anyways, a lot of these settlements have changed hands on several occasions. Did we see this picture? This is from Odessa as well. Yeah, there you go. More pictures. Wow, what a wreck. Anyways, yeah, let's look at a map of the Vermivka Tactical Bridgehead. This is by Rybar, and it starts on June the 10th, 4 days ago, and we see exactly what's happening. The Ukrainians basically tried to isolate these settlements further to the north by cutting them off right here, conducting a swerving maneuver, trying to pierce through Russian lines. Now, of course, like I've said, there's several videos. One video in particular yesterday came out and it showed something like, I think, 20 Ukrainian corpses after a failed counteroffensive. And there's footage of captured Leopards and Bradleys. The Russians are saying they've already captured and recovered a few of them. It might be only a matter of time, it likely is, before we see them displayed beside tanks from, German tanks from the 1940s. So, in any case, let's go forward. And you can see the Russians allegedly destroyed this dam. And the Ukrainians took Neskutne and Blahodatne, right? But the Russians were sending reinforcements, right? And you see the Ukrainians took Blahodatne and Starozheve. And again, the Russians allegedly destroyed that dam. It's a little tiny dam, not like the Kharkovka Dam. And here you go. The Russians keep bombing Ukrainian positions. And the Ukrainians have taken, this is on the 12th, Makarivka. The Russians took it back, right? That was the next day on the 13th, right? And then the Ukrainians took it back. And realistically, this is the situation now, according to Rybar. But essentially, a lot of these settlements have changed hands on several occasions, back and forth. So, anyways, let's look at some footage. This is from Odessa last night. So let's look at that. Oh, this is just a picture. Okay. Start again. That was a hit. That was a hit. So at the very start there was a hit. Right after another one. 3. Three hits. So 3 hits. And what did the Ukrainians claim again? Just out of curiosity. So 9 out of 10 shots shot down. And allegedly there were 4 calibers, so that's 1 caliber made it through, 1 shot had made it through. But then there's even another video that shows another explosion. So okay, let me just see in the beginning. Yeah, in the beginning there was an explosion. So, I mean, you could argue maybe it was a missile blowing up, but it doesn't sound like it. Maybe it was a missile being shot out of the air, but it doesn't sound like it. Now there's another one, so. And that was different because you could hear the sirens. Maybe they were from different areas of the city, but um, you know, three or four, that's more than what the Ukrainians are claiming made it through. But anyways, that's just happens all the time, right? Anyways, Putin
Это не просто
had a meeting, and in this meeting, he said several things today. He said that when the war started, a lot of the generals ended up being useless. He called them parquet generals or something. Basically, he's saying a lot of the generals were useless, and the people that were useful, the heroic people, generals and doctors or whatnot, they came out of the shadows. And he says that what we should do is elevate these people that are useful to the top, right? And he also critiqued the grain deal. He said that Ukraine is using the grain deal to target Russian assets and ships. They're using the routes for the grain deal to target Russian assets. And yeah, in the last 2 weeks, they've targeted like two Russian ships that were guarding these Turkish pipelines, these pipelines to Turkey from Russia. And so, yeah, another thing about the deal is, I remember when the West was, ranting about how Russia was evil and how they're not letting the grain go through because the price of grain like skyrocketed right when this war started. 30% of the world's grain comes from Ukraine and Russia, and the price skyrocketed to like an all-time high. I think it doubled. Uh, but anyways, what happens is the price doubles, and then they're showing pictures and photos on the media of starving African children. And they're saying, look, this is because of Russia. Russia is causing this. Basically, that's what they're implying, right? They pressured Russia. Russia gave in, and then as part of the deal, Russia was supposed to be able to sell ammonia, I think ammonia and some other things, and Russia was supposed to be able to sell their own grain and whatnot. Um, so yeah, the West has not lived up to those terms. They haven't lived up to their end of the bargain. They haven't allowed Russia to do what Russia was supposed to do, allowed to do. Uh, and they haven't removed, I think, some of the sanctions they were supposed to. But in any case, aside from that, they also, most of the grain, like over 90% of it, went to Europe, to Western Europe, to rich nations, not to African nations or starving African children on TV. No, it went to rich countries. So it's a joke. You know, Ukraine's getting a huge benefit out of this. It's prolonging the war. So the Russians are like, we're not renewing the deal, right? I forget when it's supposed to get renewed, but they don't want to renew it, although negotiations are ongoing. Another thing Putin said is that Zelensky, he's like, I don't understand how Zelensky is a Jew and he supports these neo-Nazis and Bandera, who killed over 100,000 Jewish civilians in World War II, right? Now, here's the thing about Bandera and how all these Nazis in Ukraine. It's very strange to me because if you read the history, at one point, see, Bandera cooperated with the Nazis, right? He was fighting the Soviets. He was an activist in the shadows. He was fighting the Soviets. Uh, he was against Soviet domination. He wanted a Ukrainian state. Stefan Bandera, right? Then what happens is the Germans roll in, and he sympathizes with them. They give him a uniform to wear. Some of the some Ukrainians joined the SS, stormtroopers, Hitler's elite unit, most elite units. But anyways, at one point, Bandera declared independence, and he said that yes, Ukraine will be a part of the Reich, but it will be an independent sovereign state. Well, the Germans didn't like that, and they arrested Bandera and his friends, and they basically, at one point, they just wanted to terminate them. They basically said they have to be liquidated. That was their plan, anyways. I think they set a date they wanted to do it. Then, when the war in the East wasn't going so well for the Germans, they said, you know what? We can put these guys to use. They know the Soviets, they know their tactics, they know their secrets. So they let him out, and they let Bandera basically fight the Soviets. And So yeah, that's what I don't understand, why all these Bandera supporters, they wear these neo-Nazi flags and whatnot, paraphernalia, because the neo-Nazis want to kill them. They want to liquidate Bandera. So it doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, here's a from Newsweek. No, not News. The CNN, a CNN magazine. Putin's last stand. It's just funny. They're showing. Oh, the Ukrainian drones are dominating. What are they doing? They're destroying. I mean, this is just propaganda, right? Like in reality, it's Russian drones that are completely annihilating Ukrainian armor and tanks, right? So this is just straight up propaganda. Anyways, should I show you guys this? An artillery duel. There's a Polish Crab, 155 millimeter self-propelled artillery, and it's an artillery duel. Basically, the Russian artillery with this drone basically directs the fire at the self-propelled howitzer, and there you go, it got blown up. So this is earlier. I think we're gonna see it burning. Yeah, it parked. Yeah, this is when they hit it. You can see the fire. And the Poles, it's a Polish self-propelled howitzer, but yeah, a lot of them have been destroyed. So see, this is how effective even Soviet-era artillery, when you add a quadcopter drone that's worth a couple $100 to the equation, it makes a huge difference. A huge difference. Helicopter in Vermivka targeting a Bradley.
Давай. Ушла, давай, дружище. Идем. Держу.
Wait for it.
Эй, попал, есть.
I think we've seen that. He said Papao. We saw this yesterday, but this get rid of the music. But these were abandoned, I think, near Belgorod. They end up destroying them. They take down the flags of the Free Russian Army or whatever they call themselves. I don't know how they call it. They say that they're trying to free Russia. It's weird because even Western pollsters claim that Putin has a 70% approval rating. The war has more than 80%. This is Western pollsters that claim this. So I just don't understand how they can, what's Biden's approval rating? Like 30 something, or I don't know. It's the lowest of any president in the last like 20 years or more. That guy's keeping guard. You would think they want to retrieve these, but I don't know. Maybe it's probably on enemy. It's probably in neutral ground, like in the gray zone. That's why the guy on the right was keeping 6. He was basically keeping guard because this must be in the gray zone. Still, you think they would try to retrieve them, but I think they got stuck as well. They're just like, screw it. But I mean, couldn't they have driven them down? I don't know. Probably too problematic. Anyways, yeah, the Russians captured a Leopard 2 in Bradley, and some of this I have to not show you guys because there's dead bodies.
О, диви, граник. РПГ-22, да? О, А?
Leopard and Bradleys.
Где? О! Нихуя!
Yes, yeah.
Бред! Фу, бля! Воняет!
See, he just. It didn't show it. I skipped it properly,
А
but
вот пидораска до
he
сих пор
passed a dead
работает.
body, which is why he almost puked.
Бред ты ёбаная! О, что там, Роман? О, ты, граник. РПГ-22, да? О. А? Где?
The motor's running just fine. The tracks came
О,
off. Let's go ahead a bit.
о. ВК дохуя. А вот он, блядь, фрисовский нахваленный леопард. Ой, их две техники
That's a
работают.
Leopard,
Это Брэдли.
Bradley.
Ну вот. Не так уж и страшна эта пидоросячая техника. Ебали мы ее, ебем и будем ебать. Вот так вот.
Anyways, yeah. Turn this down. Night vision, I think it's a Bradley being targeted and destroyed. Wow. There you go. Another one. That's a big one. That's part of a crab. A crab self-propelled howitzer. Anyways, guys, if you watched till the end, thank you. And please like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.